So, welcome everyone. I think we should start. Mm, yeah. So, last time we stopped here. We stopped at page number 61 and we were reading and reflecting on wrong thinking. How by default we take the path of by default we take the path of negative thinking and wrong thinking, but it can be changed if we wish to. So, no, I shall be well, I am and shall be all right. One has to make that affirmation and throw off the negative suggestion. Right thinking is most necessary for good health. So, I think there we have lots of experiments to do with ourselves, that we see that naturally we go into the wrong loops of thought. So, can we make skillful patterns for ourselves which are beneficial, which do not harm us in that sense of negative thinking? So, here and then, yeah, we have to start from this new passage today, new paragraph. Yeah, it's a longer one, so we'll maybe take bits and pieces of it. Yeah, so starting from page number 61, the last bit, if you live normally. So if anyone would like to read this, please go ahead.
Namaskar.
Yeah, namaste.
If you live normally under quite normal conditions without having extravagant ideas and a depressing education, well, through all your youth and usually till you are about 30, you have an absolute trust in life. If, for example, you are not surrounded by people who, as soon as you have a cold in the head, get into a flurry and rush to the doctor and give you medicines. If you are in normal surroundings and happen to have something, an accident or a slight illness, there is this certainty in the body, this absolute trust that it will be all right. It is nothing, it will pass off. It is sure to go. I will be quite well tomorrow or in a few days. It is sure to get better, whatever you may have got. That is indeed the normal condition of the body. An absolute trust that all life lies before it and that all will be well. And this helps enormously. One gets cured 9 times out of 10. One gets cured very quickly with this confidence. It is nothing. What is it after all? Just an accident. It will pass off. It is nothing. And there are people who keep this for a very long time, a very long time, a kind of confidence. Nothing can happen to them. Their whole life is before them, and nothing can happen to them. And what happens to them is of no importance whatsoever. All will surely go well. They have the whole of life before them. Naturally, if you live in surroundings where there are morbid ideas and people spend their time telling you disastrous and catastrophic things, then you may think wrongly. And if you think wrongly, this reacts on your body. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe next bit we take later. This we see mostly with little children, very little, that they usually are very happy-go-lucky even if their nose is runny or things are happening with them. Their parents will be more worried than them. So somehow this confidence is very natural with little children I've seen. And of course with very few rare adults also, but it's few, very few. And depends a lot also parallelly on our conditioning. Like mother says that if you are in normal surroundings and happen to have something, then there is this certainty. But if it's not normal and people have filled into you these ideas like, okay, cold in the head and where is the medicine, just give yourself a medicine. So if those ideas have not been put in our head while we were growing up, then it is there naturally in the body. There is a certainty in the body, this absolute trust that it will be all right. Whatever it is going through, it's a passing phase and it will pass through. So वो morbid ideas नहीं आते दिमाग में कि oh my god, अगर ये हो गया, अगर वो हो गया. So those ideas don't come.
Didi, I just want to ask,
जी.
but what if your body is very sensitive? Like you are very sensitive as a like uh, like I remember even as a child, I grew up on a farm and I was a very soft child. So even in animals and everything, no, I only liked rabbits or I liked birds. Like even so I liked very soft animals. Even like a lot of people like dogs as pets and stuff. But I never had. I only had rabbits or ducks or birds, like very soft uh, animals, and I only liked to be around trees and plants. I would only talk to them. So like any harsh energy in the environment, I would just immediately react. Like my body would just react, and I would get very like कहीं से जोर का आवाज सुना सुना भी या लड़ाई या कुछ ऐसा क्रैश सुना तो मतलब ऑलमोस्ट ट्रॉमा जैसा रिएक्शन होता था मेरी बॉडी में. तो मतलब पता नहीं फिर उस कंडीशन में क्या करना चाहिए. जैसे अभी भी क्या होता है कभी जैसे मैं किसी सपोज वंस आई वाज गोइंग विद माय फैमिली इन अ कार. तो कार का कुछ एक्सीडेंट हुआ. मुझे एक खरोच भी नहीं आया, मगर किसी और को कुछ हुआ तो मतलब मेरी बॉडी में ऐसे फील हो रहा है कि मुझे हुआ है. मतलब आई वुड बी लाइक मोर सेंसिटिव देन एनीबडी अराउंड, and like I would absorb all the pain. Like I would. So I mean, uh yeah, like I will absorb other people's pain also आस पास के. तो उस कंडीशन में क्या करो. मतलब जैसे बच्चे होते हैं ना बहुत जल्दी खेल के उठ जाते हैं ये वो. मेरा ऑपोजिट हिसाब है. मैं वैसा बच्चा थी कि बाकी सबका छोड़ रही. और कहीं ना वो अभी भी वो चीज है मेरे में. मतलब मुझे बहुत मुश्किल होती है किसी भी इन्वायरमेंट में होती है तो मुझे बहुत मुश्किल होती है अपने अपने इमोशंस या एनवायरनमेंट या ऑरा की बाउंड्री बनाने में. मतलब इफ somebody else is going through something, वो पूरा मेरे ऊपर निकाल देते हैं और मैं पूरा अब्सॉर्ब कर लेती हूँ. मतलब आई बिकम लाइक दैट डस्टबिन फॉर देम टू. और मेरे में वो टेंडेंसी है कि जैसे उस इंसान के पास चार और लोग होंगे वो किसी पे नहीं निकालेगा. जब मैं आऊंगी तो मेरे ऊपर ही निकालेगा, क्योंकि मेरे में टेंडेंसी है ऑब्जॉर्व करने की. और उसको पता है कि वो निकाल सकता है मेरे ऊपर, मैं कुछ नहीं बोलूंगी। तो वो पैटर्न मेरे साथ रिपीट होता रहता है, और सेंसिटिविटी की वजह से मतलब कीप अब्सॉर्बिंग अदर पीपल्स पेन, जहाँ because I don't know how to create my own aura and my own boundary, and matlab I don't know, so I don't know what to do in that condition.
As mother says that there is nothing wrong in this world, things are just not at their proper place. And I think that's true here in this case also, that it's a gift to be sensitive. To आप एक जना है जो आपके आसपास कचरा है, और he is such into his own shell that he doesn't even bother what is all around, and he lives in filthy and dirty surroundings because sensitivity nahi hai, a numbness is there. But to be sensitive is a gift. अब उस गिफ्ट का जब प्रॉपर यूज नहीं होता है, जब वो रॉन्ग प्लेस पे यूज हो रहा है, तो वो एक बन जाता है बेन। बट जब वो राइट जगह यूज हो रहा है वो सेंसिटिविटी वाला गिफ्ट, तो वो बोन बन जाता है ना। सो दिस इज व्हाट यू आई फील हैव टू डू इन दिस केस, एंड पीपल हु आर सेंसिटिव लाइक यू आर शेयरिंग, यू आर sensitive and easily absorb other people's pain and also joy, maybe, for example. Now this sensitivity has to, I see personally maybe more perspectives to it, but what I see right now is, see, आप कभी भी किसी चीज के लिए स्टैंड कब लेते हो? मान लो आपके आगे अत्याचार हो रहा है, लोग किसी चीज किसी बंदे की पिटाई कर रहे हैं बिना बात के, आप सेंसिटिव हो, यू फील हिज पेन, व्हाट विल यू डू? व्हाट इज द राइट यूज ऑफ दैट सेंसिटिविटी? टू टेक अ स्टैंड फॉर द राइट कॉज। तड़पना इज नॉट अ गुड यूज ऑफ दैट सेंसिटिविटी, दैट्स अ डिस्टॉर्टेड यूज। कि मैं इतनी सेंसिटिव हूं, मुझे तड़प होती है अगर कोई मेरे सामने तड़प रहा है ना, वो उसका बैड यूज है, उससे आप भी तड़पोगे, वो भी तड़पेगा, उसको भी फायदा नहीं हुआ। But when the sensitivity is present and you feel someone else's pain and you think that they should, I must do something about it, take a stand. Now getting up is what you have to do. Sensitivity is there, numbness is not there. So you can be very glad that you are sensitive, you are not numb like crores of people. But जब आप उसको अपने ऊपर ले लेते हो, सारा का सारा absorb कर लेते हो, and you don't take a stand, then it becomes your suffering and weakness. And the very same sensitivity, when you take a stand and get up, because I can't stand this happening in front of me, injustice, it becomes your strength. ये होता है ना? So use this sensitivity at a right place. Now second thing which is coming to me is that since you are sensitive to the surroundings and keep absorbing this and that, it means that there is more like feeling level पे you are open, feeling level पे there aesthetic sense जो है होती है हमारी, वहां पे you are open. Now that same capacity can either harm you, make you more weaker, like if you keep absorbing all that is filthy, but if you keep yourself totally turned towards the mother, for example, towards the divine, that same porosity and sensitivity will give you strength, because now you are exposing yourself to a sun, you are not exposing yourself to, for example, garbage, है ना? तो अब ये आपके लिए और भी ज्यादा जरूरत है कि सत्संगत हो, कुसंगत ना हो। और सबसे बड़ी जो हमारी कुसंगत होती है, बैड कंपनी होती है, that is of our own mind's ruminations. That is the baddest company that we can give, because we all know what goes inside of our mind, round and round and round. So give yourself good company in thoughts, read good books, turn the thoughts and feelings towards the mother, because you have that sensitivity. तो वो ये एक sponge है, sponge sensitive है, easily absorb कर लेता है। आप उसको कीचड़ में रखोगे, एकदम से वो कीचड़ वाला sponge बन जाएगा। बट उसकी ये भी कैपेसिटी है कि जैसे आपने उसको गंगा जल में डाला, वो पत्थर नहीं है, वो एब्जॉर्ब कर रहा है, तो वो गंगा जल एब्जॉर्ब करेगा, है ना, बिकॉज इट इज अ स्पॉन्ज। पत्थर डालोगे तो पत्थर जाके नीचे बैठ जाएगा, ओवर द years when the river passes through it, it becomes into a pebble, बहुत slow उसका shaping up होता है, but sponge will absorb immediately. So when we don't use our capacities and gifts at the right place, they become a weakness. But when you use them at the right place, then they become your strength. है ना? तो जिन लोगों को कुछ भी नहीं फर्क पड़ रहा और चेतना है जिसको फर्क पड़ रहा है, तो वो स्टैंड भी लेने के लिए तैयार है कि नहीं, क्योंकि मुझे फर्क पड़ रहा है एंड आई कांट सी दिस हैपनिंग, आई विल टेक अ स्टैंड. सेम फॉर द आउटवर्ड थिंग्स एंड सेम फॉर योर इनवर्ड एनवायरमेंट. है ना? जैसे आउटर एनवायरमेंट हमको परेशान करता है अगर गंदा होता है, वैसे हमारा इनर एनवायरमेंट भी हमको परेशान करना चाहिए अगर गंदा है, तभी तो हम साफ करना शुरू करेंगे ना उसको. है ना? सो यूज दिस सेंसिटिविटी टू क्रिएट अ ब्यूटिफुल इनर एनवायरमेंट. Turn every thought to a pure thought, pure feeling, turning, thinking whatever, positive, optimist all the time. तो वही है, मतलब आप सब आपके हाथ में है, but you have the gift, you have the capacity. Not everyone has the gift. You can use that gift, make it into your strength rather than weakness.
Yes.
Yeah?
Thank you, Didi. I really resonate with what you're saying. Yes. Because mother का message इस type का पड़ा हुआ है मेरे but ऐसे ही
आपकी
है.
आवाज कट रही है थोड़ी
Also
सी.
you as usual.
हाँ.
Better. Yes, I do resonate with what you're saying, and maybe it's also, yeah, that sensitivity. Maybe I'm wasting on people who are not yet open to healing or something. And maybe if I give it to people who are actually craving healing, maybe it will benefit them. क्योंकि ये जो आप स्टैंड कह रहे हो ना, स्टैंड तो मैं लेती हूँ अपने एनवायरनमेंट में, और क्या होता है मेरे साथ पर्सनली कुछ इतना गलत हुआ नहीं है लाइफ में, बट आसपास जो भी होता है ना, मैं स्टैंड लेती हूँ. पर उससे क्या होता है ना, लोग फिर वही होता है ना, रिबेल कर देते हैं, रिबेल लेबल लगा देते हैं, रिबेल और ये सब. और मतलब मुझे कभी कभी लगता है कि मैं अननेसेसरी झगड़ों में भी पड़ रही हूँ, जिनका मतलब जिसको एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम है वो तो स्टैंड ले नहीं रहा. वो कुछ सीख रहा है लाइक और वो मतलब मैं ले रही हूँ तो मेरे साथ भी स्टैंड ले नहीं रहा, और मैं अननेसेसरी झगड़ों में पड़ रही हूँ, जिससे मतलब वो लोग ओपन ही नहीं है उस लर्निंग के लिए, और मैं जबरदस्ती उनको कोशिश कर रही हूँ कि भाई सीखो सीखो टाइप्स, करो करो, instead like even if where people are open to learning or healing, if I use it there, then at least it will benefit somebody. Yeah,
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. यस. एंड ऑल्सो मतलब थोड़ा बहुत रिबेलियन तो सुनो, थोड़ा बोड़ा ये जो लेबल्स वेबल्स हमारे ऊपर लगते हैं तो सबको सहने पड़ते हैं.
मतलब वो तो मैं समझ रही हूँ, वो तो मैं समझ रही हूँ, बट आई वाज आल्सो मतलब वो भी लग रहा था कि मतलब मैं सही अगर कुछ दिया है मदर ने तो सही जगह यूज कर रही हूँ, कि ऐसे लोगों पे यूज करी जिनको परवाह ही नहीं है, मतलब वेस्ट भी नहीं होना चाहिए ना, मतलब वही. Even the second point you said is very very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm practicing to be less dramatic every day. Even when I'm talking, when I'm sharing my experience or anything, I try to tell myself that, okay, stop being dramatic. It is not a big thing. And there is sometimes there is progress, sometimes I'm falling back, but there is still, I have hope. And this habit that since I am being so dramatic, I thought that people who are dramatic are normal. If you can open that sentence paragraph in the beginning, not talking about the storylines for the past, but one experience as a kid I had is I had something very spicy. And when you eat something spicy, at one point I think at the breathing or something, it feels like this Tom and Jerry में जैसे उसके कानों से ऐसे हवा आ जाता है, मतलब धुआं आता है ना आंखों से कानों से, तो ऐसा हो गया था मुझे. और all my I was at my relative's place. Everyone was like, क्या हो गया, क्या हो गया? And my mom's like just sitting like this, just she's looking at me. nothing, no reaction, nothing. और मुझे इतना, and they kept giving me water, पानी, दूध सब दे दिया. After a while I was okay. I asked my mom, प्यार नहीं करती मुझसे, ये क्या रिएक्शन है? And she said that, जैसे तुम हो रहे हो ना, जैसे तुम रिएक्ट कर रहे हो ना, तुम्हें ऐसे ही रहना रहना है. इतना रिएक्ट करोगे तो ऐसे ही होगा, इतना रिएक्ट मत किया करो. And I, after that, I stopped. Every time I felt sick, I would tell ki, Ma, no problem, I will recover. But again, there was this one thing in me that she is not normal in the way she reacts. She loves me, but she is not normal. I am the one who is normal. Agar if I have a kid, I will be like, kya ho gaya? I will cry, I will do this, but that is what I thought is normal. In that sentence paragraph, that's where I found light, that it says, you know, in the, if you can scroll a bit up, yeah. Now, it says if you live normally under quite normal conditions without having extravagant ideas and a depressing education, and also it says, if you are not surrounded by people who, as soon as you have a cold in the head, get into a flurry and rush to the doctor, give you medicines. If you are if you are in normal surroundings and happen to have something, that's where I realized that she is the one who is being normal. I am the one who's being dramatic, and that really helped me. That okay, so that is how normal people react. It's always about, like, आप बोलते हो ना मैम, do something physical, ये बातें तो सब करते हैं. तो मुझे भी वैसे ही बनना है, मुझे भी फिजिकल करना है. कुछ बातें तो मैं हर दिन करता हूँ. आई हैव टू लुक एट माई ओन मदर फॉर इंस्पिरेशन इफ आई एम still not finding the tangibility right now due to my lack of insincerity, which I'm trying to be sincere. That just by looking at her, like, कर्तव्य पहले आता है कि ये करना है, ठीक है, ठीक नहीं है, ठीक है, don't overreact, मैं ये करूंगी, you'll be fit, and that's about it. So it's yeah, glad to read that. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful, very inspirational. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah, so it really helps, as you were sharing, to focus less on drama and to get into action. Whatever is required. At times, one has to actually, these kind of things give us a lot of resilience. When painful things happen, they give us a lot of resilience that, oh, I can go through that, I can go through that. It means everyone can go through that. So if we are strong with our own self, like you were sharing the example of your mother, if one is strong with one's own self, one is resilient and practices resilience, then one can also, with trust and faith, practice this same thing on children, for example, like your mother was, you know, letting you become resilient, through that experience, because as you shared her experience, that she herself practices that thing with her, and she knows that nobody dies like that. So one can allow one to go through that experience with less drama, and whatever action is needed, one takes care of that. Yeah. So there are people who keep this attitude that it is nothing and I will be taken care of, I am taken care of. There are people who keep this attitude for a very long time, a kind of confidence. Nothing can happen to them. Their whole life is before them and nothing can happen to them. and what happens to them is of no importance whatsoever. So we may go through diseases, we may lose one limb. People have lost their limbs, and look at the inspiration that they give. They run marathons, they climb Everests. So nothing is impossible, nothing, no matter how many things we may lose bodily, physically. So what happens to them is of no importance whatsoever. Even then the human spirit rises. All will surely go well. They have the whole of life before them. And naturally, if you live in surroundings where there are morbid ideas and people spend their time telling you disastrous and catastrophic things, then you may think wrongly. Many times we have friends like that, who, if you are sharing a plan with them, they would just let you know all the things that can go wrong in that plan. So, and they are very proud of that logical analytical thinking, that see, I told you that this can happen. So this is, I don't know how much this is beneficial. So also we must ourselves not be one of those people, that we are always picking out what can be the most worst possible happening here. So people spend their time telling you disastrous and catastrophic things, and then you may think wrongly, because as Chetna was sharing, everyone is some bit like a sponge. Somebody may be more of a sponge or somebody may be less of a sponge, but whatever influences we live with, whatever thoughts we live with, they keep impacting us. So that's why they say keep good company. Have good company either of books, scriptures, your own thoughts also is a company, and plus the company of friends, whether they uplift you or take you further down and bring in more wrong suggestions. And if you think wrongly, this reacts on your body. Yeah. So let us take this second half, if possible. If anyone would like to read, else I can read, if not anyone.
Should I read again?
Yeah, please continue. Yes.
I have seen such cases. Children who had these accidents. One has when running about and playing. I'll just start one more time. I have seen such cases. Children who had these accidents. One has when running about and playing. They did not even think about it, and it went away at once. I have seen others whose families had drummed into them as soon as they were old enough to understand that everything is dangerous, that there are microbes everywhere, that you must be very careful, that the least wound may prove disastrous, that you must be absolutely on your guard so that nothing serious happens. So they must have their wounds dressed, must be washed with disinfectants, and there they sit wondering, what is going to happen to me? Oh, what if I get tetanus, a septic fever? Naturally, in such cases, one loses confidence in life, and the body feels the effects keenly. Three-fourths of its resistance disappears. But normally, naturally, the body knows it should be healthy, and it knows it has the ability to react. And if something happens, it tells this something, it is nothing. It will go away. Don't think about it. It is over. And it goes away. Thank you.
We see mostly if all of us have seen things in India, and we see that especially with little children in villages, since there are also not all these facilities, hospitals and all that, so by the effect of that surrounding, they are mostly very resilient. गिरते हैं उठ जाते हैं, गिरते हैं उठ जाते हैं, अच्छा लग गई तो अपने आप देख लिया, वॉश कर लिया पानी से, ऐसा नहीं है कि मम्मी को पता लगा. So mostly they are very resilient, and although especially because in villages there most people are just very active physically also, that the elder ones may not have much time to look after the younger ones, so the younger ones are the ones who are looking after the younger ones, है ना. बड़ा भाई छोटे भाई का ध्यान रख रहा है, सब मिलके खेल रहे हैं like a community. So and here also we see people who are making the buildings, like the labor workers that come here in the cities. They're very resilient, and because either keh lo ignorance is bliss, because they don't know maybe about the microbes and we know about the microbes, or ye keh lo ki they have a trust in the universe that things are taken care of. So same road, I had shared earlier that the same road, there are two schools on the same road. One is a government school and one is a private school. The government school, everybody is just like, all the children that go there, they're just on their own on the roads in which they're full of traffic. And the private school, they have to be just left next to the gate. The parents are so cautious कि हम कैसे छोड़ें. तो मैं इस stark difference को देख के काफी अचंभित होती हूँ कि wow, this is also a possibility कि same road, human beings, now the person who has the habit कि उसको हाथ पकड़ के ही गेट पे छोड़ा जाए, उसका फिर क्या होता है, उसकी सेंसेस भी इतनी ज्यादा डेवलप नहीं होती कि वो पहले लेफ्ट देखे, राइट देखे और फिर जाके सड़क क्रॉस करे. और जो ये दूसरे बच्चे हैं, छोटे बच्चे जो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में जाते हैं, उनकी सेंसेस, क्योंकि कंपल्शन है, पेरेंट्स कैन नॉट बी देयर, दे हैव टू वर्क, उनको अपने ऊपर ही डिपेंडेंट रहना है. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट दे बिकम वेरी एक्टिव. उनको पता है अच्छा कार आ रही है तो इधर कितना डिस्टेंस रखना है. सो दैट कैपेसिटी डेवलप्स. So it's very interesting that, और ऐसा नहीं है कि microbes नहीं है. Factually speaking, if we see, scientifically speaking, someone can say that सही तो कह रहे हैं, microbes हैं everywhere. But one thing we forget, that if microbes are everywhere, divine is also everywhere. उसको हम फैक्ट नहीं बनाते क्योंकि माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर डिवाइन नहीं दिखता ना, उस टाइप से. माइक्रोस्कोप के अंदर जर्म्स दिखते हैं, वायरस दिखते हैं, तो हमको लगता है कि भाई हम सही तो कह रहे हैं, माइक्रोब्स हैं, तो डरना चाहिए. तो ये भी तो सोचना था कि डिवाइन है तो फिर डरना क्यों चाहिए. इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग हाउ we ourselves make ourselves stronger and we ourselves can make ourselves weaker also. क्या हमारे ख्यालात हैं. Yeah, so anything here, anyone?
Yes. Inventions, comfort levels, luxuries, they are actually meant to make me stronger, but I become attached and become weaker. Reading this, I had a nanny when I was a kid. This was in Odisha, and she had a brother called Deepak. So when I was when I was like 8 or 9 years old, this kid was 3.5, 4 years old, and I would play with him. Sometimes I would go to the house, and they had a lot of aam ke ped, neem ke ped, all these trees. He wouldn't wear slippers or anything. एक पैंट, एक बनियान पहन के वो दौड़ते ही रहता था रोड पे, उन पत्थरों पे. और मैंने एक बार ट्राई किया चप्पल उतार के दौड़ने का, मुझे कांटे जैसे लगे रहो वहां पे पत्थर. उसको कुछ फील नहीं हो रहा. वो 3.5 years का बच्चा है, छोटा बच्चा है. वो पेड़ चढ़ रहा है, मुझे पूछ रहा है भैया कौन सा चाहिए आपको जामुन. मैं बोला मैं भी चढ़ूंगा. चढ़ा, मैं गिर गया और वो ऊपर तक चला गया. एंड आई यूज्ड टू थिंक, इस मतलब इतना स्ट्रेंथ कैसे होता है, इतना मतलब हाउ डजंट ही फील पेन, वो गिर रहा है लेकिन ही डजंट केयर। और अगर वो उसको उसको कुछ लग भी जाए तो घर वाले उसको they were not they couldn't afford hospital, so they would make something out of the trees they had, then they would apply to it. The next day he's ready and he's coming back to me again. It's just beautiful that I am today reminded of those memories that I thought I've forgotten. So yeah, wonderful, thank you.
Yeah. Mm. I think आजकल जैसे हमारे we think that जहाँ पे ज्यादा हॉस्पिटल्स हैं वहां पे ज्यादा डेवलपमेंट हो रही है. दिस इज हाउ वी लेबल डेवलपमेंट. जबकि मुझे लगता है कि जहाँ ज्यादा हॉस्पिटल्स हैं इसका मतलब वहां पे हम रिग्रेस कर रहे हैं, डिग्रेस कर रहे हैं, रादर देन रियली ट्रूली इवॉल्विंग. And people become they feel very safe. I know many people who feel very safe if they have hospitals around, कि अगर जरूरत पड़े तो जा सकते हैं. Because we have somehow lost faith in our own self, in our own healing capacities, in the divine. We have lost that true faith, which I think was natural to our ancestors somehow. But we will come to the point that we regain it, I think. It's only moving forward. Yeah, so anything more over here, anyone? Yeah, so this is again very important. Naturally, in such cases, when one is so fearful that if I don't apply anything, what would happen of me? Naturally, in such cases, one loses the confidence in life, that life itself takes care of you. Things happen and heal, and then you become okay. Things happen and heal, and then you become okay. That flow of life, that power of life to self-sustain itself, we lose trust in that. And that is why many times we become very depressive also. When we lose trust कि अरे समय, बुरा समय आया है, निकल जाएगा. सबकी लाइफ में आता है बुरा समय, है ना? तो not only physically, even mentally, emotionally, at times, we sink into dark periods, and all of us do sink into dark periods, but the complete plunge is not required. One knows that it's a dark phase, I am going through a turmoil, and it will pass. It has to pass, just like everything passes. That's the beauty of, we often complain about why things are not permanent. So that's the beauty of impermanence, that good times also pass and bad times will also pass. They can't stay forever. That's the beauty of impermanence. So the flow of life heals in its wake the things. So naturally, in such cases, when one loses this natural confidence, one loses confidence in life, and the body feels the effects keenly. Then you feel weaker. और ऐसा लगता है कि नहीं, मैं तो, मेरी तो बॉडी ही वीक है. नहीं, बट ऐसा नहीं है कि बॉडी ही वीक है. हमने सोच सोच के उस बॉडी को वीकर बनाया है. और हम सोचते क्या है कि नहीं, मैं तो जब से पैदा हुई हूँ मेरी तो बॉडी थोड़ी वीक टाइप की है ना. बट होगी जैसी आपकी नेचुरली आई है वो अलग चीज है, बट वी कैन कल्टिवेट स्ट्रेंथ इन द बॉडी. सबका अपना मेक होता है. नॉट टू से दैट वी आर नॉट डिफरेंट, बट we can cultivate whatever we want to cultivate in our physical form along with mental and emotional. So 3/4 of its resistance disappear. तो body की जो innate immunity है, natural immunity है body की, वो इस सोच से 3/4 उसकी चली जाती है. Wrong kind of thinking से चली जाती है वो 3/4 of resistance. And then again it becomes a vicious circle. So I was born a little weaker in the body, then further these thoughts come to me, and then I further lose 3/4 of resistance. So again it's like a vicious loop which I have to work upon. But normally, naturally, the body knows it should be healthy, and it knows it has the ability to react. And if something happens, it tells this something, it is nothing, it will go away, don't think about it, it is over, and it goes away. So we have to, in our day-to-day life, we have to cultivate, and we get many chances so that we can cultivate this optimist thinking. That we are all taken care of. We are all, each one of us is taken care of, and in very detailed manner. The divine is looking at our lives. Unfolding of our life is happening in a very, very detailed manner for each one of us. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई अच्छा महात्मा जी हैं, उनकी स्पेशल अनफोल्डिंग हो रही है और हमारी कम हो रही है ना, बिल्कुल भी नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं। अगर वो दूर से महात्मा लग रहे हैं, वो भी एक इंसान है और हम भी एक इंसान है, और एक एक इंसान डिवाइन के लिए एक चाइल्ड की तरह है। एंड फॉर ईच वन दिस अनफोल्डिंग इज वेरी स्पेशल एंड टेकन केयर ऑफ. So that trust has to be there. Okay, now is the power of thought. So I think we were on the same thoughts. Now earlier we were talking about wrong thinking, that how naturally we sink into wrong thinking, and maybe we have to little bit correct that course that we usually take of wrong thinking. And now in the similar alignment we have now the power of thought. So हमने ये भी पावर देख ली कि कैसे मैं अपने आप को वीक बना सकती हूँ गंदी थिंकिंग के साथ. अब हमने ये देखनी है कि कैसे हम इस पावर को पॉजिटिवली यूज कर सकते हैं. और डिफिकल्ट बहुत है, ऐसा नहीं है कि डिफिकल्ट नहीं है. अब इमेजिन कि मदर ने बोला था कि एग्जाम्पल, वन ऑफ द एग्जाम्पल दैट शी गेव इज दैट किसी बंदी के बाल झड़ रहे थे और वो नहीं चाहती थी कि उसके बाल झड़े. तो उसने क्या किया, जस्ट अ सेकेंड, या सो उसने अपने आप को ऑटो सजेशन देनी शुरू कर दी, विच इन अदर वर्ड्स वी आल्सो कॉल एज एफर्मेशन, पॉजिटिव एफर्मेशन. वो देनी शुरू कर दी कि मेरे बाल बड़े हो रहे हैं, मेरे बाल बड़े हो रहे हैं, मेरे बाल बड़े हो रहे हैं. And then you also have to, as we were discussing last time, last to last, I don't know in which session, that you have to feel that strength in the body. कि जब मेरे बाल बड़े होंगे, how would I feel in the body? That empowerment I have to feel in the body. तो तब क्या होता है, then you are actually working on that power of positive thought or affirmation. लेकिन as we were discussing, when we were discussing about power of affirmation, that we do it half-heartedly. है ना. मैं ऊपर ऊपर से तो मैं बोल रही हूँ कि नहीं मेरे बाल ठीक हो रहे हैं, बाल ठीक हो रहे हैं, लेकिन अंदर है कि यार ये कैसे ठीक हो रहे हैं, गंदे तो हैं तो झड़े जा रहे हैं. तो अंदर वो बैकग्राउंड में एक पैरेलल स्ट्रिप चल रही है, तो वो काम नहीं आती है. अगर मैं ये बोल रही हूँ कि मेरे बाल बढ़ रहे हैं, तो मुझे फील करना है, हाउ वुड आई फील इन द बॉडी जब मेरे बाल सुंदर हैं, बहुत लशियस हैं, एंड आई, हाउ डू आई फील सो एम्पावर्ड एंड कॉन्फिडेंट. दैट यू हैव टू फील इन द बॉडी, है ना. वो ट्रस्ट एंड फेथ फील करना है. तो तब देन दिस वर्क्स. सो मदर हैज शेयर्ड दिस एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस लेडी who just by sheer power of affirmation, she actually was able to have the hair back for those of us who want hair back. मतलब आसान तो यही है कि जब होंगे ही नहीं तो झड़ेगा क्या बट अगर लोग चाहते हैं अच्छे बाल होना, क्योंकि हम काफी लोगों की ख्वाहिश होती है कि मेरे सुंदर अच्छे लहराते हुए बाल हो, तो किया जा सकता है. नॉट ओनली इन दिस केस बट मेनी अदर केसेस. So same is true, power of positive thought for many facets in our life. Workplace, है ना. You are repeating one kind of work again and again, and you feel that why am I stuck? Something is stagnating. Again, affirmating that I am in the right place where I should be, and I am guided. How do you feel in the body? Right now I am here. It means the divine wants me to be here. Let me put my best. The divine knows better. So whatever suggestion that we give which brings positivity and empowerment in the body, that we frame for ourselves, and it really helps to write them down several times. You just keep writing if you want to turn that subconscious pattern within you, है ना. क्योंकि it has gone within the body, so it is difficult. तो उस पे काम भी थोड़ा लग के करना पड़ता है कि अगर मान लो मुझे डाउट है कि मेरे मम्मी पापा मेरे बिना ठीक नहीं रह सकते, है ना, और ये मेरे अंदर फंसा हुआ है कि नॉट की तरह मेरे अंदर फंसा हुआ है, so I have to keep writing that all is well and taken care of and the divine mother looks after all and is looking after all. There is no need to worry, so I have to keep writing. और writing से क्या होता है, since we are involving the the fingers, the body consciousness is involved, and it is in the body consciousness that our deeper rooted patterns are there. Subconscious patterns are in the body consciousness. तो अगर उनको चेंज करना है तो ये बहुत रिक्वायर्ड है, फिजिकल इन्वॉल्वमेंट with whatever positive change I want to build in my life. That's very important. Yeah, so maybe we can take a little bit of this power of thought. Yeah, I don't know how much, but let's see. Maybe first 2-3 paragraphs we can take. Yeah, would anyone want to read? Okay, so I can read in that. The power of thought. The power of thought over the body is tremendous. You cannot imagine how tremendous it is. Even a thought that is subconscious and sometimes quite unconscious acts and produces fantastic results. Tiny mental or vital reactions, so small that to our ordinary consciousness they seem not to have the least importance, act upon the body's cells and can create disorders. This is very reflective because this is how our life is moving ahead and we have no clue why we keep on falling ill again and again. हमको पता ही नहीं लगता है कि क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है, बाकियों तो सेम सिचुएशन है, बाकियों को तो नहीं हो रहा, मैं ही क्यों बार बार बीमार पड़ती जा रही हूँ, है ना. So tiny and they may not be in our notice, so small that to our ordinary consciousness they seem not to have the कि अच्छा ये कैसे इफेक्ट कर सकता है, बट पावर, सच इज द पावर. एक ना कबीर जी का एक कपलेट मुझे याद आ रहा है अबाउट द टाइनी थिंग. ही सेज, तिनका कबहू न निंदिए. Second line is something different, and then he says आंख में. So basically the crux of the doha is that even tinka, as little thing as a tinka, tinka is nothing, you can't even see it when it's flowing in the air, छोटा सा piece of some grass, dry grass or something. He says उसकी भी कभी, उसको भी उसके बारे में गलत नहीं बोलना चाहिए. क्यों? क्योंकि जब वो गलती से आके आंख में पड़ जाता है ना तो बहुत तेज दर्द करता है. In India, we have in this special season around Basant Panchami, they're very tiny little black flies, very tiny. They're all around in the Basant season, where flowers are there blooming. And when they go into your eye, only you have to experience how much it pains when it goes inside, such little insect. So what mother is sharing here is it's maybe a tiny, कुछ आपने एक बिलीफ पकड़ के रखा हुआ है, वो पता नहीं कब आपके अंदर आया, आपके बचपन से आपके साथ है, वो एज अ कंपेनियन आपके साथ है. कभी आपने उसको क्वेश्चन नहीं किया, कभी उसकी तरफ देखा नहीं कि अरे ये कुछ कर सकता है, बट वो आपकी सिचुएशन के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है क्योंकि उसको कभी क्वेश्चन ही नहीं किया. एंड दैट्स व्हाई मदर सेज दैट यू शुड वंडर, व्हाई शुड आई थिंक लाइक दैट, व्हाई डू आई थिंक ऑलवेज लाइक दैट, व्हाई डू आई फील लाइक दैट. तो काफी चीजें हैं जिनकी हमारी जो अभी की लाइफ है उसमें अब कोई जगह नहीं है, लाइक वी हैव आउटग्रोन दैट, लेकिन अभी भी एज अ पैटर्न वो चले जा रहे हैं. बचपन में होगी उसकी कोई जरूरत, आपको अटेंशन चाहिए होगी, आपने अटेंशन लेने के लिए अपने आप को अस्थमा क्रिएट कर लिया, है ना, कि हर सीजन में मैं ऐसे बीमार पड़ूंगा ताकि देखो मम्मी पापा कितना ध्यान रखते हैं मेरा. होता है, most of the things are psychosomatic. लेकिन अब आप बड़े हो गए हो, अब आप अपना ख्याल खुद रख सकते हो, अब आपको मम्मी पापा की अटेंशन की नहीं जरूरत, अभी भी वो अस्थमा कैरी कर रहे हो, है ना. So we have to question, and there is such tremendous power in these things that we can actually become master of our body and heal ourselves if we truly question, why am I thinking like that, why should I feel like that, so that we can keep dropping these older skins, which are of no use anymore. Yeah, so just that came on this tiny mental and vital reactions. तो question करना चाहिए क्यों. First of all, to question I have to be conscious. तो जब हमारा ध्यान बाहर कम होगा, अंदर ज्यादा होगा, तो अंदर की चीजें ज्यादा दिखने लग जाती हैं. Because the light of consciousness is now awake, it is seeing the ripples inside, and then we can question कि why do I need to carry this, what is the skillful thing that I am doing here. So let it go, let it go. We have to let things go. So small that to our ordinary consciousness they seem not to have the least importance. They act upon the body's cells and can create disorders. Yeah, when you observe attentively, you suddenly become aware of a slight uneasiness, a mere nothing. If you are busy, you don't even notice it. And then if you pursue this uneasiness to see what it is, you perceive that it comes from something quite imperceptible and insignificant to our active consciousness, but it is enough to make the body feel uneasy. तो बचपन से आप सोते आए हैं गद्दों पे, बॉडी को आदत हो गई है गद्दों पे सोने की, कभी क्वेश्चन ही नहीं किया, अरे सभी तो गद्दों पे सोते हैं, it's very normal, natural. And now suddenly if you get a bed which is not that comfortable with gaddas, just like a plain sheet on it, maybe even not that, so you feel uneasy. So mother says that you feel uneasy, and at times, now this gadda will actually be very obvious to us, so we'll feel uneasy more obviously, but mother says that it could be very little things, और वो इतनी अनइजीनेस होगी सिंपल सी कि आपको वो नोटिस भी नहीं होगी काफी बार. This I can relate because earlier when I was little I used to have very often this my tonsils will get inflamed. So हल्का सा ठंडा खा लिया tonsil inflame हो गए, हल्का सा खट्टा खा लिया tonsil inflame हो गए. So as I grew up, again this uneasiness with cold things I developed. क्योंकि वो बचपन में वो होता था तो वो आई एम कैरिंग, तो जहां पे भी बर्फ दिखेगी ऐसा लगेगा बस हटा दो बर्फ. क्यों हटा दो बर्फ, वो मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं, बस हटा दो. तो अब धीरे धीरे ऐसा लगता है कि वन कैन इन फेथ टू टेस्ट वन सेल्फ कैन ट्राई थिंग्स. कि वो बचपन के जमाने अलग थे जब टॉन्सिलाइटिस होता था, अब बॉडी चेंज्ड है, यू आर अ डिफरेंट बीइंग. दैट uneasiness that I may be feeling having that cold liquid, that is not required anymore, है ना. अब उसकी कोई जरूरत नहीं है, कोई जगह नहीं है. पहले होती थी, कुछ चाहिए होगी अटेंशन उस जन्म में कह सकते हैं. So this thing where she shares that you actively suddenly become aware of that uneasiness, a mere nothing. If you are busy, you don't even notice it. And then if you pursue this uneasiness to see what it is, you perceive that it comes from something quite imperceptible. इतना easily आप नहीं उसको perceive कर पा रहे, imperceptible and insignificant to our active consciousness, but it is enough to make the body feel uneasy. If only we can see this happening in us and work on these, then we keep crossing our thresholds. We expand and we don't make ourselves limited. जैसे आप नंगे पैर चलने की बात कर रहे थे, again, if we want to experiment with नंगे पैर चलना, first few days or weeks it will actually keep hurting me. क्योंकि the soles are not yet ready for that walk, barefoot. लेकिन जैसे if I persist, if I endure, पहले दिन अगर छोड़ दूंगी, अरे नहीं नहीं ये तो मेरे से नहीं होगा, मेरे तो ना बचपन से ही पैर बड़े सेंसिटिव है ना, बोल सकती हूँ मैं, और या मैं ये करूं कि हाँ अभी नहीं हो रहा, बट इफ आई वांट टू डू इट, इफ आई गिव इट सम टाइम, इट विल हैपन. सो नीचे जो सोल होती है पैर की, वो इट डेवलप्स अ हार्ड क्रस्ट, and slowly then you are okay with that heat, even if you are walking barefoot. This I saw in Tiruvannamalai, in South India it's very common, people walk barefoot. So there in heat of 45 degrees, people are walking barefoot on these charcoal roads, cemented charcoal roads, and then you have to make that parikrama around the Arunachal hill. People do it barefoot. So मेरे को बड़ी चढ़ी, जब मैंने वहां पे देखा कि वाह नंगे पैर चल रहे हैं इतनी भीषण गर्मी में, मैंने कहा मुझे भी चलना है नंगे पैर. So I was able to do it fully, 14 kilometers of the stretch नंगे पैर, but the next day I had blisters, and which is like nothing, क्योंकि आप पहली बार चले हो, है ना. अब मैं ब्लिस्टर्स की वजह से ये सोचूं कि नहीं नहीं मेरे को तो ये सूट नहीं करता नंगे पैर चलना, आगे से तो मैं कभी चलूंगी ही नहीं. So it is like again making myself weaker. To give it some time to develop resilience. जैसे कि टाइम के साथ ही मुझे सेंसिटिविटी डेवलप हुई है, that my feet have become so soft with time, keeping them on सहेज सहेज के तकियों पे और गद्दों पे. तो अब मैं टाइम के साथ if I expose it barefoot and what if I want to experiment, then the body develops that resilience. So it's very interesting, all these experiments, if one continues to do it, challenging oneself, है ना, कि आपको आदत है चाय पीने की दिन में 3 बार, और आप ऐसी जगह जाते हो जहां पे चाय मिलती नहीं है, अगेन चैलेंज एक्सेप्टेड, है ना. खाना आपको एक पर्टिकुलर खाने की आदत है, अब आप फॉर सम रीजन यू गो टू अ प्लेस, जो वो देते हैं आपको खाना पड़ता है ना, तो खाओ, है ना. अगेन रेजिलियंस, एंड्योरेंस इन द बॉडी. और हम क्या करते हैं, हम बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है, हम क्या करते हैं, हम उस एरिया में वो दुकान खोज डालेंगे जहां से हमको वो मिलता है जो हमें चाहिए. और बाकियों को भी बताएंगे कि देख मेरे को ये नहीं मिल रहा था, बट वो दुकान जो है ना वो 5 बजे खुलती है और वहां ये मिलता है. Yeah, so many experiments again to do with ourselves. So any last reflections on this paragraph that we just read? I think rest of it we take later, because there is so much to experiment. We don't want to just keep reading and not experimenting. Yeah. So anything over here, anyone?
This experimenting, I feel it goes beyond physical things. I think, and also affirmations. Taruman has also told me about affirmations, and affirming that I can also be an instrument of the divine. I can be an instrument of the mother. Uh, I want to also experiment this in that way as well. While I'm experimenting in this, that I'll be flexible. I'll be like Bruce Lee says, be like water. Wherever you go, be like water. It'll fit into anything. So yes, looking forward.
Yeah, so this uneasiness part, तो कहने का मतलब थोड़ा सा ये भी है कि हर जगह जहां हम अनईजी हो जाएं, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वहां पे आगे अटेम्प्ट नहीं करना है ना. कुछ पार्ट्स ऐसे होते हैं, क्योंकि इसको हम एक वो नहीं बना सकते कि ओ आई एम व्हेन आई एम गोइंग देयर आई एम फीलिंग अनईजी सो आई शुड नॉट गो देयर. और अगर वहां going there is an उचित action, it's a right action, then in the beginning we will all feel uneasy. Whenever we do anything which is challenging our previously held beliefs, it initially makes us uneasy. तो ये दो टाइप की अनईजीनेस हमको दिख रही है. एक तो ये होती है जो साइकिक अनईजीनेस होती है, वेयर यू आर डूइंग समथिंग रॉन्ग, नॉट इन लाइन विद योर इनर ट्रूथ, एंड यू फील अनईजी. सो थ्रू दैट अनईजीनेस यू गेट टू नो, अच्छा मुझे क्या करना चाहिए. आप अकेले अकेले कुछ खा रहे हो, यू आर फीलिंग अनईजी वाइल अदर पीपल आर वेटिंग फॉर दैट थिंग, so you feel no, मुझे शेयर करना चाहिए, for example. So that uneasiness is a different uneasiness, and then there is an uneasiness which is also present when we are challenging our previous thresholds. तो ये दो टाइप की uneasiness होती हैं, और इसमें ये नहीं है कि wherever we feel uneasy we should stop and step back, है ना, कि नहीं क्योंकि मैं यहाँ पे uneasy feel कर रही हूँ, ओ तो मुझे ये नहीं करना चाहिए, ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है. We have to use our discernment, we have to use our intelligence to see whether whatever I am now doing, it's taking me in the right direction, and I am feeling uneasy, but I must attempt it. I must go through that uneasiness. So जैसे कि people who are very introvert and shy, if the first time they are asked to speak on stage, they will feel very uneasy. मन ही नहीं करेगा बोलने का, मन करेगा बस नीचे देखते रहो, सामने देखो ही मत. अनईजीनेस ही तो है. अब ये बोले कि नहीं नहीं क्योंकि मैं अनईजी हूं मुझे जाना ही नहीं है, ऐसा नहीं है. फेस इट, बिकॉज दैट यू क्रॉस ओवर योर फियर. यू डोंट मेक फियर मोर बिगर देन यू. जो भी चीज एक्सपेंशन की तरफ ले जाती है, सही कदम की तरफ ले जाती है, we have to see that उसमें भी uneasiness feel होती है, and we must go through that uneasiness. Otherwise we remain like a, Sri Aurobindo says, like a goat or a animal tied to a sacred fence, going round and round and round. अपने ही दायरे में पूरी जिंदगी एक दायरे में निकाल दी. While the possibility with us is living many lives in one life. Leaving our older selves, becoming newer selves, progressing exponentially, वो भी हमको दी गई है possibility. So what do we want to be? Do we want to be the same person all our life, or do we want to excel, exceed ourselves? So that many lives lived in one life. फिर गम नहीं रहेगा कि जब डेथ खड़ी है सिरहाने, फिर ऐसा नहीं लगेगा अरे थोड़ा सा और जीने दे, ऐसा नहीं लगेगा अरे जी लिए, पूरी तरह से जिए. जीने दे तो अच्छा है, और जी लेंगे. बट अगर ले जा रही है तो ले जा, खुल के जिए. सो खुल के जीना, एंड खुल के जीने का ऑफ कोर्स नॉट इन अ वे दैट we have been licentious in our life, but exceeding our own self, exceeding our boundaries. Whatever made me limited, I am crossing that boundary, expanding, growing more towards a true individuality. छोटा जीवन है, करना चाहिए, सबको करना चाहिए अपने अपने स्फेयर्स में. whatever little we can do to exceed our limited selves, we must do it. Yeah, I don't know this context, Snehi, which you are referring to. So we have to see the context in which this is said. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, about this uneasiness, I would want to add something like just what I saw that, this uneasiness that's mentioned, what we read in that, I feel that it's just अंदर से it just feels कि कुछ गलत हो रहा है, जैसे ये जो subtle movements होते हैं ना कि there's some part of my being who wants to say कि नहीं and yet but इतना used to है या expected है कि you just go along, you just कि हाँ 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 चल 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 and you just swiftly go along till you can't। और वो जो एक डायनामिक वाली बात है ना कि कोई न्यू कुछ एक्सपेरिमेंट हो रहा है या सम न्यू सिचुएशन, उसमें आई फील दैट द अनईजीनेस इज मोस्टली फियर डोमिनेंट। इट्स नॉट कि कुछ गलत हो रहा है, वो भी होगा बट मेनली इट्स लाइक ओ गॉड यू नो लाइक डोंट थिंक अबाउट इट, डोंट गो देयर। मतलब इट्स मोस्टली दैट लाइक मी कि आई हैव टू प्रोटेक्ट, आई हैव टू, मतलब उसमें अलग डायमेंशंस आ जाते हैं टाइप ऑफ अनईजीनेस में। और उसमें बस एक यही कि नो अ पार्ट ऑफ माय बीइंग इज नॉट ओके, लाइक जस्ट subtly, and that one is more louder and it's fear based. Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, so anything more here? Anyone? ये इसके बाद वाला हम अगली बार ही लेते हैं, the power of thought. Anything more? Right. Okay then, so we'll take it further later in the next session. So just maybe taking a moment of silence and sharing and dedicating whatever clarity, whatever strength, understanding, merit with all the sentient beings. May we all have lots of joy and progress in our lives, and lots of resilience, endurance, and strength to go through all the happenings of our life. Thank you.